Lawrence, are you still using your Wii? Ay nako, why is it so bad if I send it to your cousins in Texas? You're not even using it. Yes.
Wait, where's my Wii? Hey y'all, emergency player here. Are you ever nostalgic for a game? I was very nostalgic for Wii Play, specifically the Tanks minigame. And by the time I wanted to play it again, my Nintendo Wii was already shipped off to the land of the rednecks. But that didn't stop me. Instead, it motivated me to pitch a remake of the game, built from the ground up in Unity. But what makes a successful remake? Does it mean copying the original game one for one despite the flaws? Do you add improvements or quality of life features? How many improvements do you make before it starts becoming a new project? Who are you to decide if certain features are considered flaws? Is this really just a Ship of Theseus debate? Why do I even exist? Questions like these keep me up at night, which is why I don't sleep. That and the constant disappointment in myself that I was an AJR fan in high school. Some sins were never meant to be forgiven. However, deciding what to keep and what to axe is part of the game development process, and something that you just have to get a feel for as you build your game. And in the end, a true remake is really difficult to achieve. But I believe we were able to do it when we made This is a disclaimer, this game and video were made for educational purposes. We're all broke college students and none of us made money from this game. We all just made this game for ourselves, and we made all the assets. Nintendo, please do not sue. This was all back in fall of 2021. Fresh off of summer break, I was ready to make a new game for my university's game development club. After my Wii got shipped away, remaking Wii Play Tanks was my primary idea that I held on to for most of that summer. The idea itself is pretty self-explanatory. So what did my pitch look like?
So, I'm going to be pitching the game that will bring back my childhood happiness. Some of you might say something like the moon landing, others may say something like the light bulb, and some may say the wheel. But personally for me, everyone forgets that Nintendo also made a Wii Play Tanks minigame on the Nintendo Wii. Now, why this game specifically? My mom gave away my Wii to my little cousin. Just FYI, I googled Blender and forgot to put logo, and I put the first image in.
I like to consider myself an A-tier presenter. After presentation, we had a little team of 7 going, including Jonah from Lambeth Run. So we had our first meeting and hit the ground running. When doing a remake, it's important to look back on the original and see what you need to carry over. Luckily, Wii Play Tanks seems like a pretty simple game. Just a few mechanics and... Dude, there's 100 levels. Dude, there's 100. I know there's 100 levels. What do you mean there's 100 levels? 6-year-old me got to level 10 at best. You're telling me there's 100? How do we even have enough content to cover all that content in a minigame? Yeah, so there's apparently 100 levels. Looking at the wiki, there's also a single player mode and a local co-op multiplayer mode. 9 different types of tanks with varying behaviors, and dynamic music based on which tanks are available in the current level. That's a lot of content. Out of this list, we decided by the end of the semester that we should have single player with multiplayer as a stretch goal, all 9 types of tanks, and all 100 levels to stay faithful to the game. With our goals set, we got to work. So what did the game actually end up with? As per usual, not everything we planned actually made it into the game. Wait, what did you mean we have everything? Everything? Wait, wasn't that a stretch goal? Okay, so by some miracle, we actually completed our original goals and even got 1 stretch goal in before the deadline. We had all 9 tank types in the game with a solid player controller to combat them. There was a very minor change to the white tank that goes invisible. Since we didn't have any track marks for the tanks, we made the white tank turn visible every few seconds just so the player knows where they are. But aside from that, the rest of the tanks stayed pretty faithful to the original counterpart. Mines, bullet ricochets, and all the block types are also in the game. And most importantly, we got all 100 levels in the game, which we owe a lot to our stretch goal. This was a pie-in-the-sky stretch goal for me. Unfortunately, I had no idea how to create a level editor. So I offered up the idea to my team members to see if anyone wanted to tackle it. Solomon rose to the challenge. Outside of this project, I was actually in a class with Solomon, and it just happened to be that in that class, they were teaching regular expressions, or regex. Solomon took the regex project from the class and applied it to our game to create the level editor. Here's how it works. Every block and tank is assigned a unique string of 2 characters. The level designer will create a .level text file and then declare the size of the grid along with creating a matrix of strings that match up with the dimensions of the level. After building out the matrix, Solomon's script will go through each line of the .level file and then read every 2 characters. It will instantiate the associated block or tank prefab into the scene and allow the player to start the level. While it had no UI, this was a great system for our team to split up the work and build out levels. With 5 of us available to build levels, we split it up by each person creating 20 levels within this system, which allowed us to finish building all the levels within an afternoon. This was insanely efficient, and also cut down on a lot of potential problems such as merge conflicts. A positive side effect that I didn't even think about until later on was that this compressed the file size of our game drastically, since we didn't need an individual scene for each level, since the level reader was just one scene and scans the .level files. With this win, I built the game and then opened up the first level to load. Except, there was one major problem with this build. None of the levels would load. I thought this must have been a build error with the game, so I rebuilt the game another time, and then a third time, and then a 5th time, only to find each build just completely empty. Stressed out of my mind, I had to look into why this was happening. Turns out, it was a pretty simple issue. Basically, once the game compiles, the file structure of the project changes, which leaves the .level files going somewhere else that we didn't know how to read. What we ended up doing was redirecting the level files into the streaming assets folder. This was a folder in Unity that stays exposed once the game is built, meaning even players have access to it. With most features, developers most likely don't want players to access these types of files, but to us it was a pretty good benefit, because now the level editor is open to players. We added some extra template levels and documentation in the streaming assets folder for any players who are curious and decide to open up the game files. In the end, a true remake should invoke powerful feelings of nostalgia and recreate the fond memories of the original without reliving the limitations of that era. I'm proud to say that we recreated Wii Play Tanks very successfully. It's not perfect, but for my 3rd game project, this is pretty solid. Looking back, this ended up being my most polished game in college thanks to such an amazing team. I probably wouldn't return to this game directly since it's owned by Nintendo, but I did begin to implement ideas and game philosophies from this game into another game prototype that I'm currently working on. It's funny to think that one of my best game prototypes was due to my mom giving away my Wii to my cousins in Texas. Maybe one day I'll get my Wii back, but for now, I got Wii Play Tanks if I want to relive old times.